네, 제가 지금 나와 있는 이곳은 보시는 것처럼 국립과천과학관입니다. 이곳에 온 이유는 과학을 공부하기 위해서 온 게 아니고 에릭슈미트 알파벳 회장을 만나러 왔습니다. 이번 방문 목적은 무엇이었는지, 그리고 구글이란 도대체 어떤 회사인지 한번 제대로 한번 이야기를 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 저와 함께 에릭슈미트 회장을 만나러 가시죠. 네, 티타임 오늘은 이 굉장히 특별한 분과 함께 하는데요. 알파벳 회장입니다. 에릭슈미트 함께 합니다. 반갑습니다. Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much for having me on your show.
제가 그 대학교 때 전공이 국어 국문학이라서 영어를 잘 못합니다. 그래서 한국말로 한다는 점을 좀 이해해 주시기 바라면서 이제 시작하도록 하겠습니다. 제가 알기로는 2년 만에 이제 한국을 방문하셨고 몇 번 많이 오셨어요. 한국을 유독 사랑하시는 것 같은데 이 이유가 있습니까?
I really like the Korean people and culture. Korea has been good for Google. When we started in Korea, we had relatively little users, but the key companies of Korea, Samsung, LG, others, adopted Android, and they made a partnership with Google to change the world. So I am very, very grateful to Korea for what they have done for Google and for Android to make it so successful.
여기가 과천과학관인데 여기 어린이를 위해서 이제 특별한 어떤 지원을 하기로 결정을 한 걸로 알고 있는데 어떤 내용입니까?
When I was a boy, I liked to make things. And today there's something called the maker movement, where young children are encouraged to build things, not just physical things, but also out of components and software. And in Korea, this is being done as low as the age of 5 or 6. It's extraordinary. So Google has invested in a maker studio, literally for children to make things. And we're also building an outdoor science play maker area for outdoor activity and building as well. I believe that people will discover science is wonderful when they learn that they can build something themselves, that they can discover something themselves. It makes them feel good. It makes a child feel good and smart and powerful.
새로운 체험 해볼 수 있어서 되게 좋아요. 막 날아가고 그러니까.
여기 오니까 재밌는 것도 많이 알 수 있을 것 같고, 그리고 간단한데도 이렇게 재밌는 걸 할 수 있다는 걸 알아서 되게 신나고 관심이 더 갖게 될 것 같아요.
처음에는 별로 기대를 안 했는데 오늘 배우고 나서 많은 것을 알 것 같고 과학에 좀 더 관심을 가지게 될 것 같아요.
제가 얼마 전에 이제 구글 본사를 한번 가본 적이 있는데 굉장히 재밌는 공간이 있더라고요. 게러지라고 불리는 창고라고 적혀 있는 어떤 그 공간이 있었는데 생각나는 것들을 만들어 볼 수 있는 그런 공간이라고 생각을 했어요. 그러니까 구글의 어떻게 보면 창업자들의 어떤 그 정신하고도 좀 이어지는 것 같은데 그게 이제 구글의 정신인가요?
I think that's right. Google is organized around small teams that do different things. We try not to tell them exactly what to do. We try to see what their ideas are. Now, as it gets bigger, we try to shape it. But the process of innovation is bottom up, right? So you have to give people the tools to discover things. My favorite example is Google Photos. You can upload your photos, but it uses machine intelligence to match the photos and tells you things about the photos. This has never been done before. That was an idea that just bubbled up. I found the energy in Korea fantastic. The hard work and the loud and the pushing and so forth, which are characteristic of Korea. I think that bodes very well. Now, not everyone will be successful, many fail, but the sense of future in genetics, in gaming, in communications, in healthcare, in machine learning, very powerful.
어떻게 보면 사람들이 구글이 왜 이런 걸 하지 하는 정도로 너무나 다양한 분야로 확장을 하고 있다는 느낌을 받았어요. 이를테면은 인터넷 검색하는 회사였지만 우주에도 관심이 있고 생명에도 관심이 있고 그리고 자동차에도 관심이 있고 다양하게 관심을 갖고 있는데 이게 어떻게 보면 단순한 그냥 뭐 철저하게 계획된 것이었는지 아니면 그냥 한번 해보자 사업 확장 때문에 이런 것이었는지 궁금합니다.
I think it just bubbled up. Both founders are very interested in new ideas that can be big and solve big problems. So in the car example, Larry had been very interested in the self-driving cars at Stanford, and we hired the small team 10 years ago. Today it's a huge success. We hired a doctor who was interested in diabetes and medical technology, and he invented a diabetic contact lens. So it starts with, let's hire some smart people and see where we can go. We build a balloon that will allow you to use your mobile phone anywhere in the world. I never thought it would work, but it does.
혹시 구글의 꿈은 이 세상을 정복하려고 하는 게 아닌가 하는?
No, not at all. What we want to do is we want to use technology to solve old problems in a new way.
네. 그런 의미에서 최근에 이제 구글이 알파벳이라는 조직을 만들었는데 그러면서 이제 다양한 자회사를 이제 하는 조직 개편을 했단 말이죠. 알파벳을 만든 이유가 무엇인가요?
So in a big company, you get teams that at some point have to be on their own. If you don't do it right, they leave, especially in America. So in Alphabet, we have a place for them to go to. So they start in GoogleX, for example. So a small team, and we say, are you ready to be a business? And they say, yes, we are, right? So then we can make a business, and then they can be independent. And the Alphabet businesses are very independent.
알파벳은 총 26글자인데요. 이제 많은 사람들이 얘기하기를 그 알파벳의 꿈은 26개의 분야를 뭘 하려고 하는 거 아니냐 이런 얘기를 합니다.
We'll probably create more, but we don't know.
네, 알겠습니다. 그 조직도를 보면 이제 래리페이지가 CEO라고 돼 있고 세르게이가 프레지던트 그리고 이제 에릭슈미트가 체어맨이라고 돼 있단 말이에요. 그럼 이 각각의 역할이 어떻게 구분이 되는지 궁금합니다.
So I tend to do the external things. So I travel, I deal with governments, policy, those sorts of things. Larry is the CEO. He really owns all of the companies. And Sergey works very closely with Larry now that he's president. So Larry and Sergey are together all day, every day. They're also best friends. So that has been true for almost 20 years.
그 두 사람의 그 친한 정도가 질투가 나는 경우는 없었는지요?
No, we're all best friends.
Best friend, yeah.
And we've worked together. They've known each other for 20. I've worked with them for 15 years. And this is my home.
구글 하면 이제 좀 많은 사람들이 기대하고 있는 것 중에 하나가 무인 자동차인데 저도 본사를 가서 좀 이제 주행하고 있는 자동차는 본 적이 있어요. 하지만 아직까지 뚜렷한 성과물이 지금 나오고 있는 것 같지 않은데 언제쯤 이 구글의 무인 자동차가 상용화 될까요?
It will happen in the next few years. The technology works very well.
Yeah.
But as you can imagine, we have to find people who can build the cars. But we also have to have regulations which will allow them to be on the streets. And people need to be comfortable that they're safe. I believe that they will be safer than human-driven cars. And the reason is that the self-driving car can see all around, right? Whereas you can only see forward. And that self-driving car doesn't get tired, doesn't get drunk.
애플도 이제 자동차를 하겠다는 이제 관심을 보인 것 같아요. 이렇게 이제 사실 보면 이제 전통적인 자동차 회사가 아닌데 구글도 그렇고 애플도 그렇고 이런 어떤 움직임들 이유가 어디 있다고 보십니까?
I think because the software has gotten so good that you really can imagine redoing the car, redoing trucks, redoing many forms of transportation. Uber has been very successful. Google is an investor in Uber. We're very proud of that. So there's a sense that cars and transportation and all of that are going to change very quickly.
혁신적인 기업을 얘기할 때 뭐 구글 그리고 애플, 페이스북 그리고 이제 우버라는 이야기를 한단 말이죠. 우버 다음은 어디가 될 것 같습니까?
Well, I think it's interesting that it's Apple was first, and then Amazon, and then Google, and then Facebook, and now Uber. Who will be the next one? I don't think we know. But what we do know is that there will be one.
Yeah.
And perhaps in a few years it'll be clear. I'm convinced that the next one will also be based on mobile technology and it will solve a problem that people have every day.
구글이 지금 단기적으로 가장 주력하고 있는 분야 머신러닝으로 알고 있는데 그 이유는 무엇이며 그리고 이제 한국의 스타트업들 또 이제 많은 이제 청년들에게 한 말씀 좀 해주셨으면 좋겠습니다.
I am convinced that this new form of programming, machine learning, will change many systems. Because as a programmer, you used to have to write all the rules down, and now you can train. And so for a company like Google, which has a very large amount of data and an awful lot of activity, clicking on links, ads, offering services, we think it will improve our accuracy, which is what we care about the most. And I'm sure that that will be true of other software companies as well. I would make sure that I had an international team. I would make sure that I had some women on the team, if not run by a woman. I would try to target something international, not just domestic. So for example, in healthcare, use computers to make healthcare better. In games, play the games better, right? In virtual reality, do the pictures in a more sophisticated way. The market is ready for many, many new products based on this, and they could be Korean companies.
야, 오늘 저 인터뷰에 응해 주셔서 대단히
Well,
감사합니다.
thank you very, very
Thank you very
much.
much. Yeah.
Thank you.